XCN, the number one altcoin set for a 32,000% parabolic move. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet. And I'm bringing up a different chart for you guys who have been following along so we can kind of go over this bit by bit. As for 32,000%, I don't think it's going there, but anything is possible, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But this is the chart that actually has XCN's all-time high of around 18 cents. So the first thing always to be looking at, in my opinion, is drawing from the top to the bottom roughly with the Fibonacci retracement. That'll give you all the levels that we will be looking at for some resistance. We may get some here at around 7. We may get some here in 10 to 11 cents, as the 11 cents is the 618 on the Fibonacci retracement. Get a little bit of support, potentially test around this area, but then we could see that push up towards the 18 cents eventually. All that being said, the one thing that is a little bit deterring is this right here. 1 day candle dropping down to 0.005 from roughly, where was that? Like 16 cents to almost nothing. Grabbed a bunch of liquidity and then shot right back up to around 5 cents and higher before that consolidation. However, we are flipping this and we are doing it in the reverse because we are being more bullish. Just keep in mind, stuff like this does happen. You could see it go to 18 cents, then nothing. But typically, whenever you go to the all-time highs, you start pushing to new all-time highs. And this currency is pretty well backed. JP Morgan, just to try and get the algorithm to pick up stuff in the video. But here we have the previous all-time high at 18 cents. The Fibonacci starts to push up. It's already pre-programmed, but around the 29 cent mark, which is 3,000% increase. The next real stop, you could see around 0.064, maybe 0.077. This is just, it's pure speculation. But say we have a continuation. Say we go up to $1, around 9,310%. Have you held from your 0.01 cent area and not sold any and that entire trace up? Probably not, because we'll probably have some rapid pullbacks with pushes up. So pushing up to the 618, we could see rapid pullback down to 0.07. Everybody starts selling everything because they think it's going to go to 0, and then a bunch of liquidity gets grabbed, and then we start continuing back up to the all-time high around 18 cents. So then the people who are buying at 7 cents, they're not getting that 0.01 price tag, they're getting it at 0.07. So then your percentage is decreased by quite a bit. You're only going up 126%. Maybe 300%. But if you hold it through this entire time or piece out, take some profit and then rebuy back in cheaper, there's nothing wrong with that. Stacking more XCN on the way up with the pullbacks. But if you're selling out completely whenever it goes up to 10 cents and then it retraces and you don't buy back in, you probably made a bunch of money, but there's still a lot of opportunity left on the table with the altcoin season. Do you want to risk it for the biscuit? It's highly worth it, because when you hit these all-time highs, you typically have a continuation, if not double, which would be around this 3,000% from holding way down here. With that being said, moving in, this is in the daily. All these lines here are for visual appeal, but you see we have this downward channel. We broke out of the downward channel, held over that 200 EMA and had the push up. Started another downward channel, held above the 200 EMA and pushed up. And then we try to make some kind of sense of this downward resistance. But essentially it's just another downward channel, something like this. And we broke out of it. We are now testing within this area. But at the same time, with this invisible yellow line, for whatever reason, we had that little bit of rejection. We are now trying to test that and the 200 EMA and this downward trend line all at the same time. It is a lot of resistance. Could we see some more consolidation through here before breaking the downward trend line, making it easier to get over that 200 EMA? That is a possibility. And removing the CM Guppy, putting in the RSI, and then adding back in CM Guppy because TradingView likes to do that. Reverse that. RSI is very healthy. It is a little oversold, but nothing to be really worried about. It is underneath the 200 EMA, which isn't the best, but we are trying to build some support and build it up to get over this downward trend line that we've been waiting for months, it seems like. But a lot of people got into XCN whenever they first saw that it pushed up 2,000% and got that rejection. Some people got trapped within there on the way down and then sell out at the bottom while people are buying up. But we are clearly building higher lows. We could potentially see a liquidity sweep due to what we've seen back here, that major bar. Anything is possible with this indicator. I mean, that's like a rug pull, but it's still alive. And while it's still alive, there's still money to be made. And so that's what we are going to do with XCN. And another Fibonacci retracement since we have moved in. The previous high being around 0.05 to there. And the 618 is at 0.032. A lot of people may be selling out at 0.032 or even 0.027, as we do have some resistance from this previous candle. But I mean, if you're selling out there, you should be looking at rebuying back in at a lower price. It could happen quick. It could not happen and just have a continuation up to the 0.049 area before getting that rejection, or have a continuation up to the 0.079. Any of this is possible, but if you've been entering or holding within this area, I would recommend holding and selling out a fraction of your money as profit whenever we start hitting around the 618 or this 0.05, and then try and play with it and scalp back in, because it's going to do a little consolidation. If it does have a little resistance here, have a quick drawback, and then you can gather a little bit more coin before that push up, and essentially you'd be getting more XCN than you had previously, so you can take a bigger ride up. However, you are putting more risk whenever you are buying within that area, as we have been waiting a long time here at the 0.01 cent mark for that move upwards. So essentially we are waiting to see what Bitcoin does. Is it going to hit 32,000%? I did say I was going to bring up the reasoning behind that. So let's do this. Let's go back to XRP. I brought this up in a previous video. A lot of people don't watch the other videos, which is a shame because you are missing out on good information. But keeping XCN in mind, we are talking about XRP. And XRP was around that same price before too, around 0.01, 0.0149. And then we had a major push up, right? That push up, say we're roughly where we're at on XCN, a penny. 500% within, what is that, a week? Less than a week. It went up 500%, probably more than 500%. And then it had a major retracement. Took away 400% of that. So those people who did not sell out are thinking about selling out here because it had such a major pullback from that major move up. But we consolidated, we held on the CM Guppy, and those people who held down at a penny now are gaining this amount, 1,800. And then at the 37 cent mark, 3,309. And that was within about 2 months. So 2 months, XRP went up 3,309%. That is a possibility with XCN, but not without having major pullbacks. People buying in at this point and getting 51 to 60% of their holdings just getting liquidated, or they're selling off at the bottom. They see consolidation for days, weeks, a month, and then it starts taking off yet again. But say you got that 3,000% and you did not sell. Well, you have all this retracement that you could be gaining a bunch of money. If you're selling off right here, I mean, this is trading. It's what the game is. You could be buying in down here, even here, but assuming you're buying in here, Are you scared enough? Are you going to be selling when it has this major pullback? Or are you just going to wait that day and wait for it to consolidate, push back up? And are you going to be selling in this area because it's got a bigger pullback that's coming in? Or are you thinking, oh, this is going to happen because it's pushing back up, I'm going to buy here, and then you're trapped throughout this area. But this is the very strong 200 EMA, which is what XCN is building off of. And we see that after it had that percentage pump, say you held at that 0.01, we'll do 0.02, fuck, 16,350% in that year from the point that XCN is right now. So are you just going to hold it, or are you going to sell and scalp in between? Because you can make a lot of money selling and scalping, but it starts giving you a little anxiety if you're buying in at higher prices than your 1 cent mark. So those of you who are going to be holding XCN at the 1 cent for up, congratulations, you're going to make some good profit. But keep in mind there are going to be some pullbacks, and you never know when you're going to have a major drawback. Because we hit this $3.30 mark, and then for what is that? January 18th until April of 2021. Let that sink in a bit. 3 years. So you get greedy with it, you start buying, and you want it to keep going up, and then you just hold your money for the next 3 years. Don't let that happen to you. Play it smart. That's kind of it for XCN today. We're waiting for that pump to take off. And as always, recommended Tornado Cash, even though it had that major pullback along with the rest of the market. We are starting to build a little bit of support. CM Guppy is very healthy. RSI is very healthy. Volumes picking up. But the major thing in Tornado Cash is we had that rejection. I'll do a video on this later, but you can trade it on MEXC. Reference link in the description below. And if you use the reference link in the next 5 days, you get 20 USDT free, as well as there's like rewards within MEXC. So you'll be able to spin a wheel, and any rewards that you get, I get, any rewards I get, you get. So it's a shared commodity. Definitely check out MEXC if you're used to Coinbase or something else. Good luck, have fun with it, and references in the description below.